Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Dan and Dandy Talk Sports Podcast. I'm Dan Studer alongside my co-host, as always, Danny Gulix. Danny, how you doing today? How you doing this fine Wednesday evening?
Pretty good, man. I'm pretty good. Had off from work today, so got some productive stuff done. As the viewers on YouTube can see, I don't have bed sheets on. That is the last thing that went into the load of laundry. But yeah, nice productive day. How you doing, man?
Danny, I'm doing great. I got a couple of reasons why. One, I just had the last 5 days off from work. I don't know how I managed to get that, but I was off.
Magnificent.
I was off Friday through yesterday, through Tuesday. I currently, I'm waiting for one of my assignments to get graded. But Danny, I'm as you know, I'm currently the viewers don't know, but I'm currently enrolled in an online class at Arizona State University that I get through Starbucks.
Mm-hmm.
I currently have a 106 out of 100 in that class, so I'm very proud of myself.
That's never mind. I thought we had a common Studer W banner. We don't.
Of course we don't. Why would we?
I mean, we have a Gulix one.
Yeah.
It's close enough.
My Giants are 7-2, which we'll talk about in the next episode. They hold sole possession of second place in the NFC Beast.
Well, that being said, let's get back to our regularly scheduled program. So this episode, we're going to be doing some mid-season awards, but we're going to do them a little bit differently than people typically do them, how I see. They do them as if the season were to end today. These are the players that would win. We're going to do it as we're going to predict who the winners are come end of season. So it might be a little bit different than lists that you've seen in the previous weeks. No pick 'em today. That'll be on a separate episode. We'll tweet out our Thursday night football picks tomorrow so we can do a little bit more into that. And towards the end of the episode, we're going to do some breakout fantasy performances for the end of the season. Last year, Amon-Ra St. Brown, he was drafted decently high considering his production before the playoffs last year. And it was like, hey, listen, you give him, he's going to step it up. He's going to step up that fantasy production. And he didn't until, the end of the season. So we're going to give you guys some guys that have been under the radar or not necessarily performing where you want them to. But you should grab them. You should grab them now because they will be good in the playoffs. That being said, let's get into these awards, man. You want to start with MVP? Or do you want to end with MVP?
Let's end with MVP. I say, like, honestly, that order that I gave them to you earlier, do we want to do reverse? Do we want to start with Coach of the Year?
Yeah, because I feel like that's going to be the shortest discussion out of all of them.
Okay, unless of course we disagree, which
we don't.
But we don't. We?
No, we don't. We don't disagree.
Are you sure about this?
I'm 100% positive because my coach.
Are you sure about that?
My coach of the year is Brian Daboll. That's who I think is going to win Coach of the Year. You look at this Giants roster and the amount of turnover from just the roster portion from last year to this year is very small. I mean, you've added the rookies, but no big pickups, no big signings. And the growth with this roster is exponentially way above last year. Daboll has Daniel Jones playing at an elite level. Saquon Barkley is healthy, so you can really put it on that. But he built a scheme around Saquon Barkley. You don't see coaches building schemes around running backs in the year 2022. Daboll has done that, and he's executed perfectly on both sides of the ball. And even I'm not even a Giants fan, but you love to see it.
You really do, Danny. But you know what else you love to see?
Uh-oh, we disagree.
Us disagreeing.
I do love to see that.
Danny, my Coach of the Year goes to a coach that also plays in MetLife Stadium.
Oh.
I think that the Coach of the Year... Now, next to each name that I have on here, I do have a name in parenthesis where it's like, if it's not this person, it probably will be. Brian Daboll is like my runner-up / honorable mention, whichever you want to call it.
Okay.
I'm going to go Robert Saleh.
Okay, now, run it down for me.
I feel like it really does kind of come down between, the two coaches of MetLife, between Saleh and Daboll.
Absolutely.
But if you look at these two teams, I feel like the Giants had a little bit more to work with, both offensively and defensively, than the Jets did. I mean, the Giants have the better quarterback. They have the better running back. They have a little bit better of an offensive line. They had a better secondary going into the season. The Jets came into this season relying on a really strong rookie class that they drafted this past year, and it's really paid off for it. And I feel like a lot of that goes into Saleh's coaching. The Jets right now also, and another thing to kind of take a look at too. Look at some of these wins. I mean, the Jets just beat the Bills. Both teams have beaten the Packers. The Giants, as of right now, I mean, beating Baltimore was pretty big, but all right. So I guess you can say in that case, they both have like that one really big win. But I feel like Saleh and the Jets just had a little bit less to work with than Dable did coming in to this.
It's a very fair point. That is a very fair point.
I really feel like it could go either way, but I'm gonna tip my cap and I'm gonna give it to Robert Saleh.
All right. Another one I think we can disagree on is comeback player of the year. So I think we could do that. I don't know how you did it. I mean, typically for me, a comeback player is somebody that battled injury and then came back and performed at a high level or performed near the level that they were. For me, comeback player of the year is somebody that was written out, but this man did not write back. Geno Smith. That he was a draft pick that was given up on too early. And he's showing it right now. He's been a top 10 quarterback this year easily, comfortably. Like, you cannot argue him out of the top 10. He has been absolutely amazing. And the Seattle offense, in the offseason, nobody wanted to draft DK Metcalf. Nobody wanted to draft Tyler Lockett. That's why these elite talents at wide receiver dropped so far in the draft, is because Geno Smith or Drew Lock was a quarterback. Drew Lock was a quarterback, I understand it. But the Seahawks play on offense, period. So these guys should not have fallen as far as they did. And Geno Smith has been borderline an elite quarterback this year. I mean, making crazy throws that he has not made in years because he's not been given the opportunity to make. He's just, as I said before, written off, did not write back, and he will continue to not write back through the end of the season. Give me Geno as my comeback player of the year.
Danny, I'm sorry to disappoint. There's no disagreement here, but I'm just going to kind of add on to that really quickly. Yeah, Geno Smith, as of right now, he sits at 5th place in passing yards, sitting with 2,474. That's more than Herbert, Cousins, Lawrence, Rodgers. Right now, that's more than Tua Tagovailoa, who's, you can argue is an MVP candidate. And in terms of touchdowns, he's also sitting 5th in the league with 17. That's more than Rodgers, Lamar, Herbert, Cousins. It's more than Jalen Hurts, another MVP candidate. I mean, kind of for a different reason, but yeah. And Danny, I don't know about you. I don't know if you have like a potential runner-up or a potential honorable mention, but I know that I do, and I'd like to know what your thoughts are on this person. Call me biased, but I feel like an honorable mention / runner-up could be Saquon Barkley for this award.
Fully agree. If I had to put a runner-up, I would, because he has been battling injuries for the past 2 seasons, and people thought that he fell off. People thought he was washed, and that is the most absolutely blasphemous thing I ever heard.
I mean, I won't lie. I was worried about his production heading into this year. But like, one of the biggest arguments that I have for Saquon is a lot of people like to call him injury prone. He's not. He's not injury prone. At least I wouldn't say it. Now, Danny, I don't know what you think here. I wouldn't say somebody who suffers like a serious injury, like an ACL tear, like injury prone.
No, neither would I. I mean,
it's not like
Saquon has definitely had his fair share of injuries, but I wouldn't necessarily like injury prone is a guy like, I mean, I hate to bring him down, Derrick Rose. He had that one major injury, and then he just had knick-knack injuries left, right, center, typically relating to his knee or his ankle. That's the kind of guy I would consider injury prone. Saquon having little bit injuries that might limit his snap count, or that he had to perform through these past 2 seasons, that I wouldn't call him injury prone. If it was consistently like a knee issue or an ankle issue or a foot issue, if it's something slightly different where he can still play, he's not injury prone. He just has to take that time to bounce back.
Right, like that'd be like trying to call Odell Beckham Jr. injury prone when he tore his ACL twice.
Exactly. I mean, that's just unfortunate.
Which, let's talk about that in we'll talk about that next episode. Or we want to talk about it at the end of this one.
I mean, we're gonna do some fantasy talk at the end, so we can. I mean, he might have some fantasy implications.
They did say that he's most likely going to be signing at the end of this month. By the end of this month.
Absolutely. I'll be ready to talk about it by the end of the episode.
All right. All right. So we've done Coach of the Year and Comeback Player of the Year. Danny, do we want to start with defense or offense for the rookies?
Let's start with defense because I feel like we might disagree.
Okay.
The fun, the obvious, the answer that right now that everybody seems is a lock is Sauce Gardner. And I'm gonna assume you don't have to respond. You don't even have to react. I would assume you have Sauce.
You think I have Sauce?
I don't. I have the steal of the NFL draft this year. An absolute stud, plays the same position, Tariq Woolen. Tariq Woolen is second in the league in interceptions, and he was a 5th-round rookie. Tariq Woolen has been locked down man and zone coverage. Sauce Gardner has been great. Absolutely great. Sauce Gardner is borderline elite for a corner already, but so is Tariq Woolen. Sauce Gardner has I'm not going to be a guy where I pick clips and I say, oh, look at this. He lost a route. Therefore, he's horrible. He's toast. But Sauce Gardner loses more routes than Tariq Woolen does, in my opinion, from what I've seen. I think Tariq Woolen has been a bigger force. He's put up better stats. And at the end of the day, Defensive Rookie of the Year is typically a stat-based award. So I'm going to go with Tariq Woolen.
Yeah, Danny, Tariq Woolen currently sitting at second in the NFL with 5 interceptions. Would you like to take a guess as to who leads the league?
It's not a guess. I know who it is. It's the boy CD Deuce, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson with 6. It is.
Oh, yeah, we were looking at stats before this.
We were. That's my guy, though. I love CD Deuce.
But, yeah, Danny, 10 games started for Tariq Woolen, 5 interceptions, 9 pass deflections, no forced fumbles, 2 fumble recoveries. Any other? Yeah, he's had 28 total solo tackles, 1 tackle for loss, no quarterback hits. Danny, I have Tariq Woolen.
Oh, no.
As my honorable mention.
Oh, you got me. Let's flash this. Common Studer transition W. That was good. That was very good.
You're right, Danny. Right now, it kind of does seem like an obvious or like a very popular pick. I'm gonna say it could go to Sauce Gardner. He's only sitting at 2 interceptions right now, compared to Woolen's 5. But Gardner does lead the league in pass deflections. Thank you. So I can't really pull up a lot more stats right now for some reason, but unless I go here. Oh, but this just gives me the game logs. I wish I can just look at it as a whole as a season.
But yeah, Sauce has been very good. The sauce at Buffalo Wild Wings, smacking. It's like a zesty barbecue. If you haven't got it, go get it. But nah, Sauce has been very good. I definitely understand the pick, but also this being a prediction episode, I like to go a little out there. I do. Personally.
And hey, I'm all for it. Like, this is we're not necessarily going by if the season ended today.
No, definitely not. That's not how we're doing it.
So who knows? I mean,
exactly.
Woolen could stay strong. Gardner we could see a lot more out of him. But yeah, I'm riding high on Gardner.
Let's flip it to the other side of the ball. Go to offense. I think this is one where we're gonna agree. So I'm not gonna give crazy stats. I'm not gonna say this, that, the third. I'm not gonna go into advanced analytics. I'm gonna say he got that dog in him. Dameon Pierce. He runs like a bull through the line. I mean, he's been one of the best running backs in the league, period, let alone rookies. So I'm going to go Dameon Pierce. Care to comment?
Sorry, I'm like comparing because Danny, we don't agree.
Oh, who you got?
Danny, maybe I didn't even have Dameon Pierce as my honorable mention, honestly.
My honorable mention is George Pickens. I think he's got a case, but that's biased, so I didn't put him at my number.
I mean, actually, maybe I should edit this because I'm pretty sure this person had an injury and other people have definitely passed in stats. I was thinking Chris Olave.
Chris Olave, yes, he's been very good. Absolutely. I can definitely see that one.
Danny, if he continues at the pace that he's at right now, Give me the K9. Give me Kenneth Walker from Seattle.
Ooh, I like that. I like that a lot.
Kenneth Walker stepped up when Rashad Penny went down. And let's compare the two right now. Dameon Pierce has more attempts, 165 to 121. So that's what, 44? And in those 44 or more attempts, let me do the math really quickly. We are not a math pod, so I don't know how to do this off the top of my head.
Not a math pod, unfortunately. I wish we could give
Okay.
you every single
the difference is 185 rushing yards between the two. 772 rushing yards for Dameon Pierce is fifth best in the league. Kenneth Walker's 587 is best for 18th in the league. But Kenneth Walker also has 7 touchdowns compared to Pierce's 3, at least receiving wise. Dameon Pierce also has 3 fumbles right now, and that can come back to hurt him.
It's very true.
You look at the yards per attempt. Kenneth Walker has that edge 4.9 to 4.7. Also, you look at the longest. I find it very funny that Dameon Pierce's longest is 75. Walker's is 74. And at one point where you really give the edge to Pierce over Walker is just yards per game in general, 85.8 to 65.2. But don't forget really that, Kenneth Walker wasn't RB1 for the first couple of games of the season. It was Rashad Penny. So I think that if Kenneth Walker can keep up where he's going right now, I think he's got a lot of potential to take home Offensive Rookie of the Year.
I agree.
And Danny, I'll give you a shout out too, because while I was doing some research, I did also come across George Pickens, and I considered him, but I went with Olave instead.
Good.
But also both Pierce and Walker, rookies, more than Joe Mixon, more than McCaffrey, more than Raheem Mostert, more than Kamara, more than Najee Harris, A.J. Dillon, Austin Eckler, Ezekiel Elliott. Granted, Zeke's only played 7 games compared to both of their 9s. So
I don't like the Najee Harris slander, so we're gonna move on.
I'm not trying. I'm not trying to like purposely slander him. I mean,
I respect it. I respect the Naj.
I'm just saying,
slander.
at the end of the day, no. Hey, I got the utmost respect for the Naj, but I'm just saying,
I have the most respect for the Naj.
That's very true. At the end of the day, both
it's
him
not
and
funny, is it?
Have more yards than Najee Harris. Both Pierce and Walker both have more rushing yards than Najee Harris. It's just it's just stats. Just saying.
I'm just saying. Next year, Najee's going to be comeback player of the year.
I'd love to see it happen.
But let's flip back to the defensive side of the ball again for our defensive player of the year, who we think is going to end the season as the defensive player of the year. Because right now it's pretty wide open. I mean, you got guys like Matthew Judon leading the league in sacks, and he doesn't really have anything else going for him. CD Deuce leading the league in interceptions. I mean, you don't have large basis to go off of with any of these guys. It's really just who you think is going to end the season the best. Do you want to give I've been starting them. Let me hear yours.
Okay.
Because I think we're going to have a different one.
We probably will. Danny, here's my honorable mention.
Uh-huh.
Now, this is a player that I think could definitely win the award. I feel like if the season ends today, I think it's very possible that this player wins the award.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not how we're doing it. So he's just an honorable mention right now. Danny, my honorable mention, Nick Bosa.
Very fair. I looked at him heavily.
Nick Bosa, 11 tackles for a loss, which is tied for third best in the league. 24 quarterback hits, which does lead the league, and currently sitting at tied for second in the league with 9.5 sacks. But who I do have right now and who I think could win, Danny, call me biased. Call me biased, not biased. Biased.
No. Oh, no.
Give me Micah Parsons.
That's who I have.
Wins Defensive Rookie of the Year last year. Give me Defensive Player of the Year this year.
That's who I have. His impact
Micah
on the field is just something that above, like, stats don't show. Like yes, his stats are good, but his stats don't show how good he is on the field. Give us the stats, my man. I have them written down if you want me to pull them up real quick.
I mean, I have them in front of me. I'm just trying to do it so that I only see the two of them. But I mean, here. Damn. You wanna start talking, and I'll try to see if I can fix this.
Micah Parsons, his stats He was the first person that I thought of, and his stats are not as good as I thought they would be. He's tied for 6th in sacks. He's tied for 5th in tackles for a loss. He's tied at 6th in forced fumbles, with 18 other people tied for 6th with forced fumbles. But you would think about it. You're like, Michael Parsons. I mean, we're hearing all about him and how amazing he is. He's got to be leading the league or close to in something. No, I mean, Matthew Judon has 11.5 sacks to Michael Parsons 8. And I mean, obviously it's close. It's 3 sacks, but like Michael Parsons' impact on the field does not show in the stat sheet. He is an absolute nightmare for tackles to line up against him. And he can do a lot more than just rush the passer. He can stop the run, and he's playable in coverage. Like, you can put him out in zone or in a man guarding a running back or a tight end, and you can be pretty confident. He's quick, and he moves fast on his feet, and he's light. He can jump around. He's got that change of direction. I mean, he's very good at football, like the whole thing. Like, you could throw him anywhere on the field and be confident. And that kind of player we haven't seen in a while. Like, I'll be biased or not, TJ Watt is the best defensive player in the league for me right now. He's just not going to play enough games to have that defensive player of the year status.
I agree. Is there any update on him as to when he's going to be back?
He just played this week. TJ Watt is the last undefeated player in the league.
Oh, right.
TJ Watt has won the first game and this game. TJ Watt literally makes us the best defense in the league. I don't know what it is. When he is on the field, our secondary plays like they're on crack. Our D-line plays like they're on crack.
I don't know how I missed that.
Because Minka didn't play this week. So, I mean, the Steelers defense didn't. I mean, I think we had 2 picks and we had a couple sacks. But TJ Watt, I mean, let me stop talking about him because he's not the guy making the award. My point being, Michael Parsons is on that level where I think he makes an entire defense better, just like TJ Watt does. If TJ Watt played a full season, I'd give this to him, but he's not, so I'm giving it to Michael Parsons.
Yeah, I mean, wait, what did you say about the full season?
If TJ Watt plays a full season, I would give them this award. If he was healthy the whole season, I would have given it to him. But he's not.
I was going to say, what do you mean? Because Parsons has only played one more game than Bosa.
I wasn't talking about Bosa.
Oh, sorry.
Let's talk about Watt. My bad.
Anyway, but yeah, no. 9.5 sacks to Mike's 8 in favor of Bosa. Solo tackles 31-20. I mean, but really it's tackles for loss that you want to look at. And they're 4-5, 11-10. Bosa just edges out Parsons. And Bosa obviously leading the league in quarterback hits at 24. Micah Parsons sits at 10 with 14.
So we want to move to offensive player of the year because my offensive player of the year is a little spicy.
Ooh. Sure, let me just switch to my stats really quickly.
Yeah, let me I'm going to pull up where I want to pull up like my stats of where this player ranks in all of these statistics. But you go ahead and go with yours.
Danny, my runner-up, honorable mention. I won't make a big deal about it. Justin Jefferson.
Yeah. Solid. I mean, I don't think we really after his performance that he had this week, I don't really think that there needs to be anything else said.
And I won't talk about stats right now because a lot of his stats, the only person that you're going to be comparing them to, Danny, is who I think takes home Offensive Player of the Year, wide receiver from the Miami Dolphins. Not, I almost said Najee Harris because I was going to joke and say Jalen Waddle. Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill and Justin Jefferson are 1 and 2 right now in receiving yards. Hill's got 1,100, while Justin Jefferson's just got over 1,000. Hill leads the league in receptions and yards. What else does he lead the league in? First down, receptions.
Everything, basically, besides touchdowns.
Yards per game, Justin Jefferson is 1, Tyreek Hill is 2. Who's got more targets? Hill by 6. More receptions. Hill's got the most at 81. Justin Jefferson sitting at 69. The catch percentage too. That's another one to look at. Tyreek Hill sitting at 38th with 76.4. Justin Jefferson at 90 at a clean 69. Nice. I'm gonna. You want me to get to mine? Yes.
I'm gonna go with a player who is currently 6th in the league in rushing yards. Okay, I don't want you to pull up the stats. I don't want you to pull up the stats. He's currently
6th in the league in rushing yards. I feel like I should
and
know
for
this.
the amount of attempts that he has rushing, he has been the most effective rusher with 7.2 yards per attempt. He currently is, looking at it right here, tied for 7th in the league in rushing touchdowns. But let me get you with the kicker. This is the kicker. He is currently 14th in the league in passing touchdowns and 11th in the league in QBR. Give me Justin Fields as my offensive player of the year. Justin Fields.
Okay.
Justin Fields this season he's completed 59% of his passes for almost 1,500 yards passing, 12 touchdowns to 7 interceptions. Not amazing passing stats. You look at it as compared to his rookie season, if I can just pull that up real quick, he has played 2 less games and he's about 350 yards or about 400 yards less. So you assume that he's going to eclipse where he's been at in these next 2 games. He has 5 more touchdowns, 3 less interceptions. He's been sacked the exact same amount, actually, in 2 less games. His quarterback rating is 86.4 and his QBR is 57. All of these things are jumps up from his rookie season. And then you take a look at his rushing stats. His yards are up over 300 from 2 less games. His yards per attempt are up 5.8 to 7.2. He has 6 rushing touchdowns. His longest rushing touchdown is 67 yards. Yes, he's fumbled the ball more times, but who really cares? Justin Fields might be as big of an offensive threat right now that MVP Lamar Jackson was. Where he can effectively throw the ball and he can even more effectively run the ball.
This is a hot take.
I don't think it is, personally.
Fields for offensive player of the year?
Yes. This is not ending now. This is ending at the end of the season.
I mean, yeah, that's true, but
these past 2 weeks, he has led the league in rushing yards. He has broken so many records when it comes to quarterback scrambling, quarterback running, quarterback rushing yards in a game. This, that, the third. First player to ever have over 200 passing and 200 rushing yards in the same game. Justin Fields has been an absolute phenom to watch on the field. And he's so much fun to have, specifically in fantasy. Currently at the quarterback 4 in fantasy, just off his rushing yards. Justin Fields is such an absolute weapon. And obviously, if you want to give it to a skill position player that's not a quarterback, Tyreek Hill. Yeah. But personally, I'm giving it to Justin Fields. I think he's going to continue his stint as an absolutely insane quarterback with breakaway speed that you can't stop in open field. And he's just going to get more and more rushing yards, and he's going to get more and more passing yards, and it'll be hard to take that award away from him.
I mean, Danny, looking ahead at their schedule, this upcoming Sunday, they visit the Falcons. Week
Easy.
12, they visit the Jets.
Easy.
Week 13, the Bears are not beating the Jets.
No, I'm not saying they're beating them.
Oh, but you think it's easy for him to have a good performance?
Absolutely.
Okay. Week 13, at home against Green Bay.
Easy for him to have a good performance. Especially against that Green Bay defense. They're Swiss cheese.
Week 14 bye.
Easy for him to have
there. Get cheese.
Cheese, exactly. Easy for him to have a good game on a bye.
Week 15, at home against the Philadelphia Eagles.
That's going to be a rough game.
Week 16, at home against the Buffalo Bills.
I think he can have a good game.
And then week 17, at the Lions. Week 18.
Gonna kill it.
Hosting Minnesota.
Gotta kill it. Justin Fields has a decent schedule for a quarterback and has an insane schedule for a running quarterback.
I think that really is a hot take. I really don't see him having any sort of potential. I would give Jalen Waddle Offensive Player of the Year before I gave Justin Fields Offensive Player of the Year.
Hey, man. I think he's just going to continue doing great things for the end of the year. And then when he ends with, let's see, what were his rushing stats at now?
I would give Travis Kelce also Offensive Player of the Year before I give him Player of the Year.
Justin Fields has the potential to end with 2,000 or 1,500 rushing yards. Let me be modest here. 1,500 rushing yards and 3,000 passing yards.
Kelsey is 7th in the league in yards, tied for the league in touchdowns with Devontae Adams.
Listen, man.
mean,
All I'm saying, Fields has the potential to be the biggest dual threat quarterback in a single season of all time.
He's got about 8.8 yards per target. I won't say what that's best in the league for because it's not fair when he's had 84 targets and 63 receptions, comparing that to, who the leader is, who's got only 29 and 24. Or even for that matter, Jalen Waddle on 75 targets, 51 receptions, averages 11.7 yards per target.
All I'm saying, dog. Justin Fields, he's been undoubtedly insane, and I'm giving him Offensive Player of the Year. I don't think it's fair giving a quarterback Offensive Player of the Year, but when we're not talking about his passing stats, he's been one of the best runners.
It's a good thing you're not. I don't know how it works in football. I'm just comparing it to baseball. It's a good thing you're not one of the writers, assuming it's like baseball. It's a good thing you're not one of the writers that votes on this.
I wish I was. Let's get to MVP.
Let's get to MVP, Danny.
Because I think this is another one that we're going to disagree on.
I'm sure it is, and I've got something to say about the person who I have picked right now.
I have something to say about the person I have picked.
Danny, this is probably one of the awards that I'm feeling the least amount of confidence in.
Okay.
I'm not even going to build up any hype. Right now, I think the MVP could still be Josh Allen. Now, my honorable mention, and one of the only people who I can really see taking it away from him, like we said, just because we know how, we both know how this person is, and we definitely know that they can have a strong, rest of the season. If it's not Josh Allen, I think it could be Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah. Bless you. Wow.
I'm sorry, I couldn't get to the mute button before I sneezed.
All right. Do no stats? Or that's just how you feel?
I mean, all right. Let me get to the player stats. Go to passing.
If you don't want to go to the stats, I can.
Mahomes currently leads with little over 2,900. Allen with around 2,700 touchdowns. Mahomes leads 25-20. Interceptions. Josh Allen actually has the most with 10, but completion percentage. Wow, Geno Smith leads the league in completion percentage. I don't know if we talked about that.
That's insane.
How much does Josh Allen have? 64.5%. Where's Mahomes? I cannot find Mahomes. That's crazy that I can't find Patrick Mahomes on here. What? Oh, he's 7th, 66.9. Oh, Danny, am I changing midway?
Uh-oh.
Do I think that this could be... Man. No, I'll stick with what I have right now. I'll say Josh Allen. I say maybe he can pick it up. But don't be surprised if Mahomes passes him. Who's got a better QB? They're 2 and 3, but Mahomes has a better QBR by about almost 4 whole points. Over more than 4 whole points. 4.3.
My MVP. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and call him undefeated.
Oh, okay. So that already tells me who this is.
Let me just come out and say it. Tua Tagovailoa. I think he's going to end the season as MVP. The Dolphins are 7-3 right now. They're technically the 3rd best team in the league record-wise, behind the Eagles, behind the Chiefs, and behind the Giants. Because the Chiefs and Giants have both had their bye week, and they're 7-2. The Dolphins are 7-3. They have the same amount of wins, one more loss.
Eagles are this week. They're bye week. Miami's.
Yes, mm-hmm. All right. So after this week, they can potentially be tied for the 2nd best team in the league if the Giants and Chiefs both lose.
Giants play the Lions. I realistically don't see that happening.
Realistically, no, but it's crazy things happen. The Dolphins' 3 losses were back-to-back-to-back. They lost to the Bengals in the game that Tua got taken out of in that Thursday night game. They lost to the Jets 40-17 with Teddy Bridgewater playing. And they lost to the Vikings 24-16 with Teddy Bridgewater playing. Every game that Tua has started and completed, the full game they've won.
Chiefs play the Chargers, by the way.
After missing 2.5 games, Tua is still 11th in the league in passing yards when he is no shy of 50 attempts lower than Jared Goff, who's at 10. Average yards per attempt for a quarterback that actually has attempts, Tua is first with 9.1. Qualifying quarterbacks, because I'm not considering Jacob Eason for Carolina with 5 attempts being, the leader. When it comes to touchdowns, Tua is currently tied for third in the league with.
These guys are, the three quarterbacks that we've talked about, Danny, I'm sorry to cut you off. They're 1, 2, and 3 in terms of touchdowns. Mahomes, Allen, Tua.
And Joe Burrow tied technically, but.
Yes. Oh, right.
But Tua is barely shy of 100 less attempts than them. In interceptions, Tua only has 6 compared to Josh Allen, who has 10, leading the league. Tua's
got 3.
3 what?
3 interceptions.
Oh, excuse me. 3 interceptions. Tua has the highest QBR in the league and the highest passer rating in the league.
Yeah, Danny, I mean, he finished the game with like the highest quarterback rating that you could have, and then went like 3 quarters the next game carrying that highest.
Tua has silenced every hater that has hated Tua, because even if you say, oh, he has a noodle arm, he throws it short and lets Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, the 2 fastest receivers in the league, do the work. You don't watch the games. Because right. Tua, the way that Tua airs out the ball, he has some of the highest air yards in the league too, which I can't pull up off the top of my head. Tua has been an absolute stud all season, and he deserves the respect of prediction of winning MVP at the end.
Yeah, and Danny, I mean, I'm not trying to like crap on Tua by picking Josh Allen over him. It's just like, this is just what we think. I don't know. I think Josh Allen, I mean, like I said, I definitely feel a little bit less confident now with, his game against the Jets and his last game against the Vikings. But it's how I felt. I felt strongly about it at the beginning of the season, so I'm going to kind of continue to ride it. But yeah, if it's not Tua, I would say really Mahomes, Allen. You can even throw Jalen Hurts into the conversation. Yeah, absolutely. I would love for me to be wrong and have it not be Josh Allen and for it to be Tua Tagovailoa, because Danny, I couldn't agree with you more. Just like how we talked about with Geno, like a lot of people wrote him out. Off season, everybody's talking about where's Tua going to go in a trade, and you know what, you gotta give Tua a lot of credit too, because he didn't run his mouth about how everybody was wrong. He, actions speak louder than words. He played his game and he plays it well. Absolutely. And he hasn't been, he hasn't carried any sort of attitude with him about how everybody was wrong. So, he lets his game do the talking, and, it speaks loudly. And, I love what we've seen from him this season. I'm really glad to see that he's finally performing. I'm glad to see him performing exceptionally well. Not to say that he didn't in the years prior, but it's good to see him really playing it to like an MVP caliber level.
Absolutely. But yeah, that's our predictions for the end of season awards. Just to run back down my list, I have Tua MVP, Offensive Player of the Year Justin Fields, Defensive Player of the Year Michael Parsons, Offensive Rookie Dameon Pierce, Defensive Rookie Tariq Woolen, Coach Brian Daboll, and Comeback Player of the Year Geno Smith.
And I have MVP Josh Allen, Offensive Player of the Year Tyreek Hill, Defensive Player of the Year Micah Parsons, Offensive Rookie of the Year Kenneth Walker, Defensive Rookie of the Year Sauce Gardner, Coach of the Year Robert Saleh, and Comeback Player of the Year Geno Smith.
We only agree on 2 of those. Only if our pick'ems were like this. That'd be fun. So you want to get into a little bit of fantasy? We want to talk about who maybe people should pick up and hold if they're in a position to hold.
Yeah. I mean, Danny, I'm just going to talk about this really quickly because I also want to know what you think. Even though we're in the same league, I know that I go to you for a lot of like advice. I don't know if fantasy is well as you do.
BLP?
No, I'm talking about our dynasty league really quickly.
Okay.
Did you see the move that I made?
Let me check. Was it a trade or the roster move that you made today?
Yes.
I
think this is. It's the same reason why I had picked up Richie James earlier in the season.
Production.
He's truly wide receiver 1 for the Giants.
He's been good.
Jones really seems to like trying to find him.
I mean, and as he should. I was, better than anyone. I was on the Darius Slayton train at the start of this year.
Oh, and I wasn't.
You 100% were not, but you can attest to the fact that I was.
You were.
I like Darius Slayton as a receiver. I think he's good. I just need his hands to be more consistent because his route running is exceptional.
I mean, speaking of hands and inconsistency, and in this case, hands that are inconsistent, I just thought that guys like Kenny Golladay, Kadarius Toney, Wan'Dale Robinson, and
Hey, don't crap on Kadarius Toney.
No,
Chiefs legend Kadarius Toney.
Yeah, 6-yard touchdown reception in his second game with the Chiefs.
I'm starting him in one league this week.
Wow. Yeah, no, but it seemed going into the season on paper, Darius Slayton was wide receiver 5, but there's no arguing that his catching was inconsistent. So I don't necessarily blame myself not being high on Slayton.
So before we get into guys to pick up, let me run down what I did in one of my redraft leagues. This is my main league. I'm 4-6. So I'm in position where I can make playoffs. That's all I'm eyeing. All I'm eyeing in this league is playoffs, because once I make playoffs, I feel like my team has a chance. I've made a trade because I lost this week by 0.3 points. I lost to my friend Matt. He had Antonio Gibson, Terry McLaurin. That last catch on that last game-winning drive for the Commanders, or game-clinching, let me call it that, for the Commanders. Antonio Gibson caught a dump pass from Heineke. It was stuffed behind the line. He didn't gain any yards, but that lost me the game. So I lost. I decided to make a trade. The team has to get revamped a little bit. You know, I have these guys. I have Jeff Wilson. I have Ramondre Stevenson. I have Tony Pollard. I'm like, let me package them with Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Whoa, what is this trade?
So my Amon-Ra, my current wide receiver 2, because I have Jalen Waddle.
And you love Amon-Ra.
I love me some Amon-Ra. It hurts moving him, especially after a huge game that he had this week. I move Amon-Ra, Tony Pollard, and Jacoby Myers, who I'm also a big fan of. PPR-wise, Jacoby Myers is a stud. In return, I get Jonathan Taylor and Deion Jackson. I get both Taylor and Deion Jackson. The kicker is I also get T. Higgins. So I move.
So who's your running back 1 and 2 now?
Jonathan Taylor, Ramondre Stevenson.
Oh, Ramondre Stevenson.
And my flex is still Jeff Wilson. See, I could have done the trade with Amon-Ra, Jeff Wilson, and Brandon Cooks instead of Jacoby Myers. So give him a better running back, keep my better receiver. I decided I'd rather give up Pollard, keep Jeff Wilson. So this kind of puts me in a rough place.
I wouldn't have given up Pollard
over Jeff Wilson. Pollard, you're really banking on Zeke staying out, because even if Zeke comes back in limited snaps, they're gonna do a lot of goal line stuff with Zeke. They're gonna give him a lot of touchdown work, which is Pollard has that breakaway athleticism that Zeke does not have. Absolutely, I think Pollard deserves to be the starter. But
absolutely. I agree there.
Realistically, in a fantasy standpoint, I would rather have Jeff Wilson, who has played 2 games with the Dolphins, both games outsnapped Raheem Mostert, and last week put up 22 points. And he's not touchdown dependent. If you take away his touchdown last week, he puts up 16, which is very solid for my flex. And he gets receiving work. He had 5 targets this week.
I just want to say that I'm very upset that the one week, besides obviously when he was on a bye, the 1 week I don't start Jonathan Taylor.
I don't know why you wouldn't start him. Running back 1 this week.
And so he dropped how many points? 24. I still won though, so I won with my RB1 getting me 0 points.
So to me having to start Kadarius Toney in this league, this puts me in a rough spot because my players on a bye this week are Jalen Waddle and Jeff Wilson and Geno Smith. So my wide receiver 1, my quarterback, and my flex are all on a bye. So I have to start Aaron Rodgers, which he's playing against Tennessee. I'm pretty happy with that. Ramondre JT. I get both my starting running backs. But instead of starting Jalen Waddle, I have to start Kadarius Toney. I get to start T. Higgins, but I have to start Brandon Cooks also, which makes me kind of upset. But he's playing the Commanders, so I really feel like – I mean, he would have had a great game this week if they didn't call back his 20-yard touchdown for a holding. That makes me upset. Over to Dynasty, I won this week by a –
Hey, there's a change of things.
Shut up. I mean, Justin Fields carrying my team back-to-back weeks. I mean, he had 42 and then 40, so And now he's playing Atlanta, so I'm expecting another big game. Not that, but my players on a bye this week is literally nobody. So that's great. My team's at full strength right now. Probably gonna drop Jake Elliott, keep Brett Maher. Need to pick up a defense. Oh, I also made another trade. I traded AJ Dillon for Jahan Dotson.
Nice.
So this is where we're gonna get into guys who you should target. Maybe buy low if somebody has them, or pick them up. Jahan Dotson's one of them. Jahan Dotson had a crazy target share in the first couple weeks of the season. He is slowly. I mean, he didn't play for a while. I mean, he was out with injury. Come back. His productivity has not been there. I mean, he played one game, had 2 points. The product share is going to come back. I mean, rookies, you always target a later season start for them. If you can hold them to a later season start, you want to. And Jahan Dotson's going to be that. Another guy in that realm for me is going to be Christian Watson. I mean, he's definitely on a roster now after the week. He just had 3 touchdowns, 32 fantasy points. Did it on my bench in one of my leagues, so that's amazing. But Christian Watson's a guy you want to look at. Isaiah Pacheco could be a guy. He just last week he commanded. It was the first time on the season that he commanded the most snaps for a running back in that Chiefs offense.
Yeah, he's the reason why he screwed me over, because they went with him instead of Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and that's why Helaire got me 0 points in fantasy.
Clyde is horrible. I mean, he started off the season very good because he was getting that touchdown usage, but Clyde is just not a good NFL player. He's not a starting caliber running back in the NFL.
That hurts.
But if you're in a position where you can hold Isaiah Pacheco on your bench for a couple weeks, if you're winning, if you're basically clinch playoffs, do it, because you want every player that consistently plays in that Chiefs offense. You want them on your team. Guys like MVS, Juju. I mean, even could go as far as if your bench is that deep, you have guys to drop. If you can hold Kadarius Toney. Kadarius Toney with Juju out is going to be good. MVS is also struggling with injuries, so that just means Kadarius Toney and nobody else besides Travis Kelce is going to get receiving work.
Are you forgetting about McCole Hardman?
I said what I said.
Okay.
Mecole Hardman's not a good wide receiver in the NFL. Very, very, very good special teams player, like top tier. Wide receiving wise, though, he's not a great route runner.
Top tier special teams that he doesn't even really carry the special teams. I'd say that Pacheco does.
He does, exactly. But Mecole Hardman, his biggest asset is that he's fast. He doesn't have amazing hands. He doesn't have amazing route running, which Mahomes can work with guys who are just fast, obviously. But I think that's more of a Mahomes thing than a Mecole Hardman thing. You know what I mean?
Right. I don't know what I'm going to do in fantasy this week. Can we talk? Can we have our giving Dan advice segment?
Yeah. Let's give Dan some advice.
All right. Well, right now my starting.
We'll call it after.
All right. Right now my starting quarterback's Josh Allen, but of course, if he can't play against Cleveland, then I'll have to put in Mac Jones against the Jets. Yeah, I know. I'm thinking about potentially dropping somebody because as of right now, Mariota is available.
Yeah, 100%. If you can, if Josh Allen's out, pick up Mariota.
But I don't know who to drop
for Mariota.
Yes,
Mac Jones. I mean, Tyrion Davis-Price, he's not going to play. Period.
I mean, but I'm just not trying to lose these guys in Dynasty this early.
He's not even a good hold.
Okay.
Not at this point because
Jonathan Taylor.
The Niners use a lot of running backs, but they have CMC and Elijah Mitchell now.
And
Elijah Mitchell's a starting quality running back, and him being a handcuff, nobody else is gonna play.
Jonathan Taylor and Josh Jacobs are running back 1 and 2. Mm-hmm. Right now, T. Higgins and DJ Moore are wide receiver 1 and 2.
Solid.
Freiermuth is my starting tight end. Darius Slayton and Alan Lazard in the flex, with Tyler Bass as my kicker and the Niners defense. Now, the only other people that I realistically could see myself potentially starting, TJ Hawkinson, even though they're playing the Cowboys, Hawks projected 10.95. But Dulcich, who he had a rough game last week against Tennessee.
He's playing Vegas.
Exactly.
Yeah. And both of those guys.
He's projected just short of 9, while Freiermuth is playing Cincinnati, and he's projected about 9.8. So I don't know what to do here in the tight end kind of thing.
Personally, I would. I'd put Hawk in at tight end.
Hawkinson against the Dallas defense.
Yes, because Hawkinson just absolutely ate up the Buffalo defense for 11.5 points.
That's true.
The only other move that I would consider making is possibly putting either Muth or Dulcich in at a flex spot.
I would probably remove Slayton and put Dulcich in at the flex.
So that's what I was thinking, and then I realized Slayton's playing Detroit, and Detroit literally has the worst defense in the league. So I mean,
would you rather take out
Slayton
Allen Lazard?
That's my whole thing.
Or do I take out DJ Moore and I put Lazard?
Okay. You can't. No. DJ Moore's value is so much higher with PJ Walker as his quarterback than Baker Mayfield.
Do you see my predicament here?
I do. You have a rough spot. Personally, I don't think I would touch your starters after this.
Right. So no Muth, no Dulcich.
No. Just because Slayton and Lazard have such sexy matchups. That's Slayton true. Playing Detroit, Lazard playing Tennessee. It's just, yeah.
All my wide receivers, honestly. T. Higgins against Pittsburgh, DJ Moore against Baltimore, Darius Slayton against Detroit.
Yes, T. Higgins against Pittsburgh Tennessee. Is gonna eat. I suck starting him as a Steelers fan. Also, I just want to say I moved up to 7th in our league, so I'm pretty happy about that.
5th.
You're 6th right now.
6th. Yeah, you and me are 6th.
And let me check. Playoffs is top 6.
Whew. So you're telling me I'm in a playoffs? You're saying there's a chance?
You are currently in a playoff. I might move it down to 4 next year.
Ooh.
I might just because I don't like the idea of a bye in the playoffs, but we'll see. I like the idea of making this.
Actually, there's 2 byes.
Yeah, making this league a more vote-oriented league when we change stuff. Like I might shorten the bench next year just because we have 10 bench spots plus 4 taxi squad spots plus an IR. So that's 15 guys on a bench.
I wouldn't. My vote would go not to change anything, honestly. And also, just as a heads up, because I know that we were talking about it in the BLP fantasy league, I picked up Denver's defense.
Nice.
They're playing the Raiders.
I picked up the Rams defense. They're playing the Saints. Yeah. All right. I think it's gonna.
I am 9-1 in that league.
Are you? I've definitely gone weeks without setting my lineup.
Oh yeah, definitely. And let's see, we're already.
And I'm 7-3.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're 7-3, and in the final standings projections, you are finished. You're projected to finish 3rd.
Nice.
Which actually you went up because originally you're supposed to, I think, finish like 7th. So.
Yeah, this league is kind of wild. Just the amount of guys that are on waivers that definitely shouldn't be. I'm actually gonna do myself a favor and go pick up Isaiah Pacheco.
No, how did I not notice that he was available? Oh, well, you know what? Because I'm not like super invested in that league, so I
neither am I. There's no money in it, so
I like having my Penn State guys. Like last week, my running back 1 and 2 was Saquon and Miles Sanders.
That's sick.
My starting tight end was Mike Gesicki, even though I should have started Dalton Schultz, but I think I just forgot to. And on my bench, I've got Allen Robinson, Jahan Dotson.
I dropped J.K. Dobbins.
Now Mike Gesicki. So, who'd you drop?
J.K. Dobbins.
B-Rob is also available.
Yeah, I'm not interested in B-Rob.
I'm waiting for my sister to claim him, honestly.
It's fair.
And Danny, I want to talk about this just really quickly. The Yankees have re-signed Anthony Rizzo. The Yankees' first baseman will be returning for the 2023 and the 2024 season guarantee. 24 season guaranteed. So it was a 2-year deal worth $34 million. So he gets 17 this year, 17 next year. And there is a club option for 2025. So if the Yankees don't want him, it's a $6 million buyout. But if they do want him, it's another $17 million. So really, Danny, this is either going to be looking like a 2-year $40 million deal or a 3-year $51 million deal. I'm just very happy because the Yankees need Rizzo, especially for his glove. Honestly, he didn't win the Gold Glove Award this year. I believe it went to Vladimir Guerrero Jr., but
W.
Not W.
I love Vlad. I love me some Vlad.
I don't like he likes to say that the Yankees are scared of the Blue Jays. Like, dude, they're not.
They are.
No, they're not.
The Yankees are scared of everybody. That's why they lost in the playoffs.
What's crazy though is that they made it further than the Mets. Yeah. At least the Yankees didn't even have to play in the wild card series.
Shut up.
Anyways, people were talking about putting, DJ at first if they were to have let Anthony Rizzo get away. But the amount look, Josh Donaldson and Isaiah Kiner-Falefa skipped a lot of balls last year. And there were times that Rizzo came up with a nice scoop, and there were times where it got by DJ. So, we need that defense out of Rizzo, and I'm glad that we're going to be seeing that for at least the next 2 seasons. I'm also especially happy with it because Ken Rosenthal reported that the Houston Astros were going to make Anthony Rizzo their number one priority, like their number one target. And then the next day he resigned to the Yankees. So screw you, Houston.
We hate Houston. On the Mets side, it looks like we're going to let DeGrom go. So good W for us.
Yeah, he told the Rangers that he's interested.
Yep. The Rangers are currently the number one suitor for DeGrom. But it also, hey, we're going to go into next season and we're going to lose DeGrom, but we're going to get Judge and Ohtani. So
you're not getting Judge and Ohtani. First off,
we're getting both.
The Angels already said, their GM said that they're not dealing Ohtani this offseason.
Don't care.
Rival GMs say that they don't believe it, but and also there's an article that came out, John Heyman of the New York Post, and he was talking about with Hal Steinbrenner, and Hal Steinbrenner made it a point. He's like, he basically said, like, I've got enough money to sign Aaron Judge and more. And honestly, that's like one of the biggest quotes that we've had from Steinbrenner lately about him like spending a lot of money. In Heyman's article, it said that he's been talking with the Yankees have been talking with 4 big MLB free agents, and it was like Trey Turner, Xander Bogaerts, Carlos Correa, 3 shortstops. So it seems like Isaiah Kiner-Falefa is done in pinstripes. Maybe he'll be a bench, but I forget who the 4th is off the top of my head, but I'd love for the Yankees to be able to like that. That was like, what George Steinbrenner. Steinbrenner was all about the veterans, yes, and these are veterans, but the Yankees are going to be spending it, and that's what they do best. Which I don't get why they haven't been doing that all along. When you haven't been to the World Series, when you haven't won a pennant in the last 13 years, who cares about the luxury tax?
Baseball, nobody cares about the luxury tax.
But like, just sacrifice a year or so of the luxury tax. Sure, give money to other teams if it means that you win a World Series. The New York Yankees, that's your whole thing. Is that's what your franchise is built off of, is winning World Series, and you haven't been to one in 13 years. Now, I was just telling somebody this the other day. Danny, I know you don't know that a lot about MLB and the Yankees and the history, but the Yankees went from 1982 to 1995 without making the playoffs. That was 13 years. 2009 to 2022 is 13 years too. So it's kind of like history repeated itself. But instead of a playoff drought, which it was back in the 80s and the early 90s, early to mid 90s, it's just a World Series drought. And honestly, we didn't talk about the World Series a lot. And I don't know if I mentioned this on like a live stream. No, we didn't, because we haven't gone live since the division series. It would have been it still kind of is, but it would have been absolutely embarrassing for the New York Yankees if the Phillies would have won the World Series, because both the Phillies and the Yankees haven't been to the World Series since 2009, when the Yankees won in 6 games. Hideki Matsui, the MVP, World Series MVP. But the Phillies haven't made it to the playoffs since 2011. Obviously, Seattle had their 20-year drought, but the longest drought after that was Philadelphia. And I think it was 2011 at least. Either way, they had the second longest active streak, second to Seattle. And the Yankees have made it, they made it in 2010. They made it in 2011, 2012. I don't think they made it in 13 or 14. They were the wild card. They lost to Houston in 2015. They missed it in 2016. And they've made it every year since 2017. And they didn't even make it to the World Series. And then Philadelphia just ends their playoff streak, their playoff drought, comes out of nowhere, not only makes it to the World Series, but wins it. It would have been even worse if they won it, but it's still bad. Like, the Yankees went every year and flopped on their face. It's like trying to do an easy task and trying to do it every other way but the easiest way. And then Philadelphia just like walks right up and does it the other way. It does it the easiest way. Like I said, it would have been even worse had Philadelphia won, but like, it definitely wasn't a good feeling or a good look as a Yankees fan to see them back in the World Series before we were.
Yeah, and it's not fun watching the Astros win either. I hate them both.
Yeah, the Phillies couldn't do. I don't know if you. I'm sorry, Daniel. Well, eventually we'll move on, but it's funny. The last appearances for the Astros, they did play the Dodgers in 2017, but 2019 they faced the Nationals. 2021 they faced the Braves, and now 2022 they played the Phillies. So the last three matchups have been against NL East teams, and of course the Braves did it, the Nationals did it, but the Phillies failed to do it. So the Phillies are just ruining everything in the NL East.
All right. That being said, you wanna that can be all.
Yeah, hit us with the
Alright.
outro, Danny.
Quick episode today for the viewers at home. We will be back this week to do our pick'ems on. We'll probably stream. Actually,
Streaming the pick'ems would be cool.
I'm gonna say we're gonna stream. So if you're
All right.
watching this, the stream will be coming. What day would we say? Saturday?
Friday
morning. Friday morning stream will be coming with our pick'ems. That video will go up Saturday, so stream gets it first. We're gonna take down the stream afterwards and put up the episode. So that's what we're gonna do. So give you guys some more, make it a little more enticing to join our stream, to come hang out with us, say what's up. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, follow what is above me right there, like, comment, and subscribe. Everything is so much appreciated. Even if you just like it, you don't even no comment, no subscribe. Just give us a like. That would help us out so much. We would really appreciate that. If you are on an audio platform, please consider rating us 5 stars. It would also help us out an absolute ton. If you have any suggestions for us, as it says question, send it to any Twitter handle above. Dan's Twitter is at DanStuder_. My Twitter is at DJ Gulix, at DNDTS podcast. We haven't done this in a minute. I'm stuttering. Hit us up on the socials. They're also going to be linked down below. If you don't feel like typing that in, just click the link. You'll be fine. And thank you so much. We will be back in 2 days. 3 days. 3 days.
3 days. Bye, guys.